Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. Welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited to connect with you here. And in today's video, I want to talk about some ways to get unstuck. This is another part to my series on the dark night of the soul and moving through that. But also this is for you if you are going through something or you find yourself wanting things in your life and for whatever reason, you're not seeing results. This is something that I realized I wasn't actually even consciously aware I was doing it, but all of a sudden I started doing some of these things and seeing massive changes in my life. And I have I've looked back on my life and really evaluated when I had big, huge shifts in my life. These are the types of things I was doing. So if you are stuck, you can't make changes in your life, things aren't going well, things aren't going the way you wanted them to, you want to have things that you just can't seem to bring into your life, this is for you. So the first thing I want to point out, if you keep doing things the same way that you've always done them, it's probably going to be really hard to see changes. So for me, I'm a type A personality. I like routine. I get up at the same time almost every day. I go the same places. I have my same morning routine and the order in which I do things for the most part. Because I have shared custody with my kids, the days I don't have my kids are a little bit different, but for the most part, you can set a timer to when I'm going to do something and it's the same thing every day. So for me, the first step is to breaking out of those patterns. So identify what the patterns are and see how you can do it differently. And when I really feel stuck and I really need changes like yesterday and want to feel better, I want to have different things in my life. I want to be moving. Where I feel a little bit agitated where I am and I just want to go, then I will change absolutely everything. You don't need to be that drastic though. Just changing some really small and minute things can show up as big changes in your life. So for instance, most people, when they're putting on their pants in the morning or before bed, you're putting your pajamas on, you put your leg in one side first. So whether it's the left or the right side, you do it at the same time and you don't even realize it. If you switch the leg you put in first, it actually makes you think, which brings you to the present moment, which is why that will work. And it just shifts your brain into a different mode. So that's one thing you can do. The other thing is just looking at the little things around you. So you normally sleep in the middle of the bed or on the left side of the bed or the right side of the bed, switching the side of the bed you're sleeping on, and then also getting out of the bed on the opposite side. So I have a pretty large bed. So for me to get out on the other side, I have to like crawl across the bed. But it is an option to kind of kickstart your brain, especially when you first wake up in the morning, to move your brain, I'm gonna do things differently today. Brushing your teeth in a different order. So usually for me, I would brush my teeth and wash my face and then get in the shower. So now I'm switching that up where I get in the shower first and then when I get out, then I'm brushing my teeth. So look at your routine, the little things in your day that you do. How can you switch it up? Some other ideas: going for a walk before you have your coffee, doing a sunrise or sunset routine or ritual. There are so many little things in your day that you can do and swap out so you're doing everything differently. Sure, you probably have to go to work on time. You have a certain time you got to be at work, a certain time you need to pick up the kids, whatever that is. You can fit these little changes into whatever schedule you're on. But just take a look at your schedule and I'm sure you can find at least 10 things that you could swap out, and that can be your first step. And then once you've done that and you've integrated that, you can move on to some of these other tips. The next thing, I want to say, and all of my tips are about pushing the edge and changing things up, because when you're changing things up, you're not stuck and your brain can kind of break out of that. So if you go for a walk and you have a specific route that you take, or a bike ride, or whatever kind of exercise that you like to do, or part of your routine, switch it up. So if you walk around the block and you normally, when you go right, go left. Or even better, find an entirely new route every time you take a walk. So what I've been doing is, maybe not every single time I take a walk, taking a different route, but at least always alternating the way I go and the times that I go. So if I normally go for a walk when I wake up at 4:30, I am going to swap that up and go at 7 in the morning. And when I usually get my lunch break, or different times in the day where I don't have a meeting, I might go for a quick walk around the block. I will try to switch up those times. And I even am switching up when I do my grocery shopping. So I would normally go after work on Tuesdays. I will find a different time to go grocery shopping. And when I feel, because sometimes if I have to run an errand, or I have to go to the post office or the UPS store or wherever, I sort of dread it. If it's not in my normal routine, like, oh, I don't want to do it, and I'll shove it off and I won't do it. So I have started forcing myself when I don't want to do it. I do, I think it's called the 3-second rule. So if I don't want to do it, I just count to 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I force myself, I get up and I do it. So I have a pile of papers on my kitchen counter that I have to take care of. It's like, I just don't want to look through them, and there are phone calls I have to make. So every day I'm picking one of those things that needs to be taken care of. And it's a 1, 2, 3, I get up and I do it, and I schedule it right into my day, and I don't push it off. Okay, and the next thing I want to share with you is to be bold. If you want significant changes in your life, if you are going through the dark night of the soul, or you're not getting what you want, sometimes you have to be really adventurous, really bold, and really take a stand. And I just realized it. I took a really big step this week in sharing my domestic violence and sexual abuse story. And after I did that, right after I posted it, which, by the way, when I posted it, when I actually uploaded it to YouTube, I was at 444 subscribers, which was really amazing to me that I had that synchronicity along with sharing something that was so hard for me to share. And as soon as I posted that, I got a message, it popped up on my phone from one of the groups I'm in, and somebody, triple dog, dared me and some other people in this group to step out of my comfort zone. So it forced me to think this through, like, oh, I just did, but what else can I do? And so I have taken the challenge of pushing my limits every single day in October. So October 1st, I posted that video and I shared it, which was really, really like the ultimate for me, pushing my limits. And then the second, what did I do? Oh, I had a really difficult conversation I needed to have with somebody who is very mean to me most of the time. And I showed up differently. I stood my ground in a loving way, which I always do, because I always go into every conversation, any interaction, coming from a place of love. I try to ground myself in it before I have the conversation. But it was a very difficult situation, but I stood my ground. I responded in a different way than I normally do, and I got different results out of the conversation, and it actually worked out in my favor, so that was super cool. And then yesterday, I jumped in a super cold river in my bathing suit and filmed it and shared that. So just posting a video where I'm in a bathing suit on social media is pushing the limits for me, but also jumping in a cold river and trying the Wim Hof technique, which I've wanted to do for years, and I've experimented with the breathing technique, but never took the cold plunge because I'm a little bit like getting cold is pushing an edge for me, and I did it in the river. Well, there were people watching, so that was super pushing the limits for me. And I will put that clip at the end of this video, so if you haven't seen it on Facebook, you can see what I'm talking about. And then also I was visiting my aunt the same day, and she is 90 years old, is homebound, and hasn't had a haircut since well before COVID hit. And she asked me while I was visiting her, or she mentioned her hair and wanting to get it cut. And I said, well, do you want me to cut it? Which I have trimmed my hair, but curly hair is different than straight hair, but never cut hair before. And she said, yes, please, please, please. And I didn't even second guess myself. I just cut her fucking hair and it came out okay, well enough for her. So that was a huge stepping out of my comfort zone. And then today I've been wanting to go trail running, but I didn't know where to go. I was scared of getting lost. There were like a million reasons for me to not go trail running. I didn't have the right shoes. Whatever. Like I made up a million reasons why I haven't done this. Well, I got my shoes on. I laced them up. I found a trail, and actually I ended up on a different trail. I don't know where that trail was I was supposed to be running on. My friend told me the trail to go to, and I know I wasn't on that trail. And I ended up with this big hill in front of me, and I ended up running up this hill several times, just running hills. I ended up on this trail. I did get lost. I didn't know where the hell I was, but I found my car in the end, and I did it. And so just doing things you don't normally do, it puts you in this mind space, it brings you to the moment, and then you just feel good that you've accomplished something as well. And you also, when you're going out of your comfort zone and you're going places you haven't been before, it puts you in line with opening up to meeting new people and having new experiences and learning from those experiences, and the list goes on of the benefits. And sometimes, so this was a really big concept for me that I learned this week, is sometimes you have to say hell yes, and sometimes you have to say hell no and stand in your power. And so for me, getting unstuck is identifying my hell yeses and my hell no's. And so like that conversation I was talking to you about that I had, that was stepping out of my comfort zone, it was a hell no. And I took a stand in a very controversial and very difficult situation that is kind of personal, I can't get into here. And I was like, hell no, not happening. And I stood my ground, and I knew it. But then there were all these hell yeses, the sharing my story about domestic violence and getting lost on a trail and realizing I'm lost in the woods. And you know what? It's really beautiful here. It's amazing here. The leaves are falling and there's no one around and it's peaceful and I'm with all these trees and I'm gonna find my way back eventually. And the jumping in the river, I felt like after I got done with my run, because I ran a hell of a lot further than I thought I was because I was lost, I thought about going back and jumping in the river to cool off after my run. But it was mind-blowing, and I met some people there. So after I jumped in the river, they came up to me and were kind of looking at me, and I told them what I was doing and why I was doing it, and they were like, "Whoa, that's so awesome! You're so cool!" Whatever. It was kind of like a funny little thing. All right, and morning routine. This is super important, morning routine. So get yourself a morning routine. And I know I said don't get stuck in the same old pattern, But I think there are a couple things you can squeeze into a morning routine. So for me, meditation is super important. I stopped doing it. I'm getting back to it. So regardless of whether I go for my walk first, have my coffee, whatever, meditation, 20 minutes of meditation, that is it. That I do it every day now. And there is nothing, aside from if one of my kids were sick and needed me or there was a family emergency, there is nothing that will stop me from my morning meditation. 20 minutes. If it doesn't happen first thing in the morning, it will get done at some point during the day. It's just not negotiable. Oh, and then I'm doing that Wim Hof breathing every morning now and taking a cold shower every single morning. And I got to do some more research on this Wim Hof breathing, because I thought when you were doing the breathing, when you took the cold plunge, it wouldn't feel so bad, and that has not been my experience. So anybody out there who does this, if you have any insight, put it in the comments. I'd love to know. But otherwise, I'm doing it though. I'm doing it. And there are a lot of benefits to cold therapy. So in any case, it's getting me out of my own mindset, pushing me out of my own way, and I'm seeing results. Oh, and I'm back on YouTube and back on social media sharing all of the stuff that I'm really super passionate about. And that's really helpful. And I felt stuck for a long time and no energy to do it, and just not feeling able to share. And that alone has really shifted me, because it's put me into service. And that's the last point I want to make. When you can show up to the world and be of service, I think you start seeing so many benefits in your own life. Not only what you're receiving back, but just feeling really in alignment. At least for me, I just feel like I'm in alignment again. I feel better. My mood is better. So how are you going to get unstuck? That's what I want to know. What are you going to do? Did any of these tips resonate with you? If they did, I'd love to know which ones you're going to try. And I would love to know how it's going for you. So put that in the comments. If you are stuck, you can get through this and you can see huge changes, wonderful changes in your life. I know you can. I have been doing this for a week, and I've already seen so many changes you would not even believe. So anyway, sending you all so much love. I hope you are all doing amazingly well, and I'll catch you on the next video.